Hello. Good afternoon, students. Once again, welcome back to previous year's questions analysis. Right. So, as you know very well, we are discussing the economics questions, economics topics. We are in the economics topic. Till now, we have completed two sessions in the economics, and we have seen the questions till 2018. So now we will see the rest of the questions from 2017 to 2014. So these questions relatively simple when you compare with the questions from like 2023 to something around 2020, even 19. These questions were relatively easier. So as the time passes by, you know very well, the things will become difficult. Similarly, the questions have also kind of become difficult. So most of the questions in these years, especially during 2015 and 15 and 2014, you will find relatively easy questions, direct questions, straightforward questions, right? So mostly other thing is, most of the questions will be on the financial inclusion, because yesterday also I have mentioned the buzzword financial inclusion was the buzzword during that time, especially during 2014, 15, 16 years. So most of the questions you will see. Apart from that, you will also see questions on the banking, because banks were facing severe problem at that time. The NPS were a big problem during that time. So you will see most of the questions related to banking also. So with this brief introduction, we will go into the actual session. Right, first question in 2017. Right, first question in 2017. Question is, what is or are the advantages of implementing the National Agricultural Market Scheme? Right, so the scheme is alternatively also known as ENAM. The popular name for this scheme is ENAM. So ENAM is nothing but creating an electronic market in which way we can connect almost all the markets in the country electronically. So a farmer who is sitting in a particular market, or who has brought his product or produce to a specific market, he can practically trade his produce in all the rest of the markets in the country. The proposal was to, I think, approximately connect the 600 plus markets throughout the country. So essentially the major aim of the program was to connect all the markets throughout in the entire country, so that the farmers can trade her goods practically throughout the country. So once that trade is concluded electronically, just the produce will be loaded in the trucks and it will reach the desired destination. That was the theme. But you also try to know some other things. Practically, we should say the actual outcome of the scheme is not that much successful. I mean, we could not realize the fruits of the ENAM as per the as desired as well. So means we could not, the point I was trying to make is, the ENAM scheme is not that much successful. We could not perform the trading activities electronically. So that is the issue. So try to know about the reasons why ENAM was not successful. What other measures can be taken to make the agricultural marketing a success? So when you see questions like this, one thing should come into your mind, that is agri-marketing. Agri-marketing. So it is still a major concern for India. We are unable to provide proper marketing facilities to farmers. Majority of the trading now takes place at present through APMC mandis. APMC mandis, that is Agri Produce Marketing Committee mandis. So there are several problems in these mandis. One big problem is it is the presence of middlemen or artiyas. They are called as artiyas in Hindi. So these middlemen charge commission from the farmers and also from the buyers who come to buy the produce of the farmers. So from the both the parties, they will charge a commission. The commission, actually the legally designated commission is very, very less, but they charge exorbitant commission. They have their like counters, they have specific space. Each artiya or each middleman has their particular space. So the farmer will come and he will use that place, he will put his produce in that place, and they will auction the farmer's produce. The middleman will auction the farmer's produce, and he will sell. So kind of it is not favorable for farmers, because farmers are failing to realize proper price for their produce. So apart from that, it is argued that there is a cartelization between the artiyas or middlemen and the buyers who will come to buy the produce of the farmers. So there are several problems with respect to APSC mandis, and if we talk holistically, there are problems with agri marketing itself. So try to find out the solutions, your own solutions. So if you remember the three agricultural laws which were brought in, I think 2 to 3 years back. After some time, the government has to take back those laws. So one of the major component in these agricultural 3 farm laws is the agri marketing was a major component in those laws. So try to know more about what were the laws, what were the measures that were there in the 3 farm laws with respect to agri marketing, and what was the issue, especially in the states like Haryana, Punjab. So with the in response to the 3 farm laws, the Punjab farmers, they have protested at the Delhi border. That was kind of lot of support. That protest got lot of support, and you also know the consequences of that protest. The government has to finally withdraw the laws. I'm not saying that they are completely good or they are not completely bad also. They were trying to address this issue, agri marketing issue, though the all points are not in favor to the farmers in those laws. We try to know more about the APMC mandis, agri marketing, and issues, and what were the major provisions in the agri 3 farm laws also. So the question is, the point I was trying to make is, the question is about ENAM, which was tried to reform the agri marketing in India. So now we will see the statements. Statement 1. It is a pan-India electronic trading portal for agricultural commodities. Yes, this is a correct statement. It provides the farmers access to nationwide market with the prices commensurate with the quality of their produce. Yes, this statement is also correct. So under this act, ENAM scheme, each and every market, designated ENAM designated market, it should have an electronic platform. There should be standardized measures like how to weigh, how to check the quality of the produce, how to decide the price, and how to trade on electronic platform. All the standards were there. So this statement is also correct. Correct option is option C. 2 statements are correct. But remember the point I was telling, it was not that much successful. Okay, so try you from your side also think what other measures can be taken to improve the agri marketing in India. All right. Next question, question number 2. Which of the following statements are correct regarding the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC? Right. Statement 1. It decides the RBI's benchmark interest rates. Yes, this is a correct statement. Some things you need to know about the Monetary Policy Committee, right? Earlier, it was the completely prerogative of the Reserve Bank of India to decide the policy rates. How much should be the reserve repo rate, etc. Earlier, Reserve Bank Governor and along with 4 deputy governors used to be there. So the discussion used to take place among them, and they used to take the decision about whether to change the repo rate, reverse repo rate, etc., or to keep it same, or to increase it, etc. So I think around 2014 or 15 or 16, I'm not exactly remembering. I think it might be in 2016 only. A committee has been formed. So 6 members will be there in the committee. 3 members will come from the Reserve Bank of India, and 3 people will come from the the experts in economic activities will come. Basically, they are the professors of various universities. So 3 plus 3 members will be there. So these committee, on the majority opinion, it will decide the policy rates. Rates, I mean the repo rate, the reverse repo rate, etc. So this was the change that has been brought in. So based on the target decided by this monetary policy committee, the Reserve Bank of India will work to achieve the targets, whatever that have been decided by the monetary policy committee. So this statement is correct. It is a 12-member body, including the governor of RBI, and it is reconstituted every year. So this is an incorrect statement. Only 6 members are there in the committee. It functions under the chairmanship of the Union Finance Minister. It is also incorrect statement. The RBI governor itself acts as the chairman for the committee. Right. So statement 1 only correct. Rest of the statements are incorrect. Right. Question number 3. Question is, consider the following statements. Statement 1. National Payments Corporation of India helps in promoting the financial inclusion in the country. So very open and a generic statement, correct only. So NCPI, regarding the NCPI, we have also seen one question. It connects all the banks that are there in the country. Right. Next is NPCI has launched a RuPay, a card payment scheme. So RuPay card, it's becoming very, very popular. Now we have also launched the RuPay credit card also. Earlier we used to have only debit card. Now we have also launched credit card. So this statement is also correct. Both the statements 1 and 2 are correct. Next question, question number 4. Right. Question is, what are the most likely advantages of implementing goods and services tax? So you know very well, in 2016 the goods and services has been made a you can say it has become a reality. For many years before that we were mulling on that. So 2016 we have brought in the goods and services tax. So statements about the tax have been given. Right. Statement 1. It will replace multiple taxes collected by multiple authorities and will thus create a single market in India. So generally speaking, this statement is correct. Generally or generically speaking, this statement is correct. However, again, there are various stages in collecting the GST also, and there are different slabs also. So if you see on the face of it, this is a generic statement that it is correct with the GST. We can say it is the objective of the goods and services tax. So this statement is correct. Second statement, it will drastically reduce the current account deficit of India and will enable it to increase its foreign exchange reserves. So this is a vague statement. There is practically speaking, it does not have that much relation with the exports. So you talk about current account deficit and increasing the foreign exchange reserves with respect to foreign trade. So foreign trade, when you talk about foreign trade, exports and imports, there the customs duties will be there. Customs duties will play an important role. They become very, very important. Apart from that, excise duty. Excise duty, to some extent, it can impact because excise duty is imposed when a particular product or good or services produced. So on that, the excise duty will be imposed. So GST can impact to certain extent the excise duty. For that too, we are not imposing the GST on several goods like diesel, production of diesel and petroleum, production of electricity, etc., alcohols. We have kept all these products, we have kept these products out of the GST purview. So we cannot impose excise duty on them. So this is kind of, it is a vague statement. Customs duty is not part of the GST, right? Customs is still separate, okay? So if you speak practically, there is not much relation. There is little bit relation, only small relation, not a great relation with the foreign trade. So the word used here is drastically reduce. So that will make the statement irrelevant. Right, next question, next statement. It will enormously increase the growth and the size of the economy in India and will enable it to overtake China in the near future. Again, this is a very overambitious statement. We cannot see enormous increase. We can see a slight improvement in the growth of the country because the tax hurdles have been will be reduced to a certain extent. We can see an absence of, we can say, double taxes, etc., imposing tax on tax, etc. All these things may go away. In this way, production can be encouraged a little bit, or exports can also slightly increase because the cascading tax, the one word is there when the earlier tax system was there, that is cascading effect of taxes. Cascading effect of taxes, right? Same good and same good, we were imposing tax multiple times, 2 to 3 times. That was known as the cascading effect of taxes. So that has been addressed, right? So the economy, there is a chance that the economy could benefit to a limited extent with the introduction of GST. However, the benefits that are going to come, they are only in the long term. The benefits are largely long-term benefits only. So this also becomes a superficial statement. So option A, only option A is correct. Rest of the statements are incorrect. Right. Question number 5. Consider the following statements. Statement 1. Tax revenue as a percentage of GDP of India has steadily increased in the last decade. So this was incorrect statement because last decade is meaning in this question is the period between 2017 to 2016. So here, because of the recession and other things, failure of various banks in the USA and the recession impact was there in India also. So tax revenue to GDP as a percent of GDP has actually gone down due to recession. So this is an incorrect statement. Statement 2, fiscal deficit as a percentage of GDP of India has steadily increased in the last decade. So this is also incorrect. Fiscal deficit of India has increased in certain periods, but that is not a steady increase. Sometimes it was increasing, sometimes it was going down, again sometimes it increased, sometimes it gone down. So whatever the increase is there, that is not steady increase, right? There are fluctuations. Some years it was went down, some years it gone down. So if you see, there was recession in 2007. So 2008 and 2009, these were the recession impacted years in India. So at that time, the fiscal deficit has gone down. But in the years like 2010, 2011, we were able to curtail the fiscal deficit to an extent, and we could improve the financial system in the country. But however, after that, we have to face adverse conditions once again, because the recovery after the recession was not smooth. So few years we have seen the increase, but after that, a further slump has been seen in the entire global economy. So India has also to face that slump. Because of that, we have to, again, the fiscal deficit has broadened. So this statement is also incorrect. Correct option is option D. Both the statements are incorrect. Right. Next question number 6. Right. Consider the following statements. Statement 1. Right. Statement 1. Extend, I think there is problem with the voice. 1 second. एक बार आ जाओ, वॉइस है, वॉइस को प्रॉब्लम है कुछ. ओके, it will be resolved. Okay, right. Question number 6. The standard mark of Bureau of an Indian Standard BIS is mandatory for automotive tires and tubes. So completely it is a facts based question. That too it is a very remote question. So you should be in a position to face these kind of questions sometimes, right? So this is about BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards. So it has a mandatory, it is mandatory for automotive tires and tubes, because ultimately they are concerned with the safety of the vehicles. So this is a correct statement. Statement 2, AGMARK is a quality certification issued by the Food and Agricultural Organization. So this is an incorrect statement. FAO is international. AGMARK is very specific to India. It is the mark given by India. So within India, this AGMARK certificate is given. So majorly it is given for food products. AGMARK is related with food products. So once AGMARK certificate is given, the conclusion is that they are fit to be consumed. Right. So I think it is clear, sound is clear now. Right. So this statement is also incorrect. It is not given by Food and Agricultural Organization. It is the certification given by Indian organizations, that too that is given for food products. Right. So correct option is option A, only statement 1 is correct. Next question, question number 7. Right. So I think right. Question number 7. Right. So which of the following has or have occurred in India after its liberalization of economic policies in 1991? So 1991 economic reforms, they are very famous till now. So approximately I think we are about to complete 1991. So almost 25 to 30 years are going to complete it. So it is the right time to assess the impact of the 1991 economic reforms. So in this context, the question has been asked. Statement 1, share of agriculture in India in GDP increased enormously. So just by seeing the statement, you can decide that it is an incorrect statement. So actually the reverse of this has happened. After the 1991 economic reforms, the share of the agriculture in the total GDP has declined. It forget drastically increasing. It did not increase at all. In fact, it gone down. The share of the agriculture in the entire GDP has gone down. So right now it is approximately 16 to 17% in the total GVA. Right? In the total GVA, agriculture GVA is around 16 to 17%. Right? So first statement is incorrect. Second statement. Share of India's exports in the world trade increased. Yes, one thing is our exports have increased because under the economic reforms we have followed we have taken up LPG reforms, liberalization, privatization and globalization. So some improvement has taken place because we have opened other countries' imports into India, and also some other countries, they have reduced their custom duties for us. So but one thing is our exports have also increased, but another challenging aspect here is the imports have also increased, that too at a very drastic rate. So if you see the overall benefit, in terms of exports we have benefited, but damage has done along with that, because the imports have also increased to a large extent, and in fact the trade deficit has further and further increased for India. Right. So we can say one good things that happened after the economic reforms, we can say is that we have immensely benefited is the service sector, especially in the IT and ITES services. So in this arena, IT and BPO services, we could achieve some success, and we are exporting IT services, IT products to other countries, and whatever the trade deficit that has been created because of the increasing imports, yesterday also we have discussed this, that has been bridged to a large extent by the surplus in the service sector, right? So this statement is correct. Next is FDI inflows have increased. Yes, this is also correct statement. So FDI into the country has been increased because of the protections that we have assured the foreign investors. So because of that, the FDI flow has increased. Fourth statement, India's foreign exchange reserves increased enormously. Yes, this statement is correct. Previously also we were mentioning about this. Our foreign exchange reserves are at a all-time high now, not only in 2017, but today also. We are in 2024. If we talk about today also, our foreign reserve exchange reserves are at a very healthy level, right? So this statement is also correct. Correct option is option B. 2, 3, 4. Statements 2, 3, 4 are correct, right? So next question, question number 8, right? Question is, which of the following statements best describe the term scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed assets, S4A, recently seen in the news? So this question is about the NPA problem only. So earlier it is not that suddenly the NPA problem has arisen in 2012, 13, 14, like that. So earlier also stress was there, but the banks were just pushing those NPS under the carpet. They were somehow disguising the NPS by extending further loans to repay service the already existing loans, and by creating certain schemes like S4A, right? Some other schemes are also there. So by doing all these things, they were just hiding the NPS temporarily. So I mean, popularly some economics have called that as just keeping it under the carpet, not making visible to the economy, or not making visible to the outside world. So when Raghuram Rajan became the governor of the Reserve Bank of India, he said that nothing doing. When NPA is there, it should be showed outside. So he has issued strict guidelines about the NPS. So because of that, the banks have to disclose the NPS, right? So before that, this story has happened because of the forthcoming of the NPS. So we have faced several problems also. There has a kind of double balance sheet problem has occurred. Double balance sheet problem. So this problem has emerged for a particular period of time, like from 2014 to 2016. What is meant by double balance sheet problem is, at one side the banks are facing the problem with their balance sheet, indirectly they are facing problem with their business, and on the other side the companies, they are also facing problem with their balance sheet. So because the loans advanced by the banks to these organizations, the companies are not repaying. They are not repaying for various reasons, including the recession. But some entrepreneurs or businessmen, they were willingly not paying. So they were later named as willful defaulters, and some industrialists have been named as willful defaulters. The famous name you know very well, Vijay Mallya. So he has also been declared as a Vijay Mallya. He has also been declared as a willful defaulter. So then the government authorized some entities to, we can say, take hold of the properties, whatever the properties of that person are there, and somehow extract or get the loans advanced to those industries or those persons. So this is the entire story. I think you know very well. So this scheme came before the actual NPA problem has, before Raghuram Rajan was the governor of RBI. So it is a scheme of RBI for reworking the financial structure of the big corporate entities. facing genuine difficulties. So the word given is genuine difficulties, but some willful defaulters were also there, right? Like best example is Vijay Mallya, right? In some businesses he was doing very well, like the beverage, Kingfisher beverages, but airlines, if you see Kingfisher Airlines, they were not at all run in a prudent at a prudent level. So a lot of exorbitant, we can say, lot of unnecessary expenditure is being made through that Kingfisher Airlines, etc. So the story, entire story, you know very well. Apart from that, he was also owning a cricket team, IPL team. He was owning a Formula 1 racing team also abroad. So all these things you know very well. But let's come to the question. So this has happened. Before NPA problem has come to fore, this scheme has been initiated to restructure the loans of the that have been advanced to big corporations. Right. Next question, question number 9. The question is, consider the following statements. Statement 1. India has ratified the Trade Facilitation Agreement of WTO. Yes, this is a correct statement. It is something related to the imports that are coming into India. We have to follow a standard procedure. Those conditions are there in the Trade Facilitation Agreement, like modernizing our customs, the border posts, so that imports can easily come into India, etc. So all those measures are there in the TFA. Next is TFA is a part of WTO's Bali Ministerial Package of 2013. Yes, this statement is also correct. It is part of Bali Ministerial Package 2003. So one thing you should remember that there are several packages with respect to WTO and negotiations under the WTO. Some famous rounds are there, like Uruguay round, like Bali round, etc., etc. So try to know more about the WTO, and also you should be completely aware of WTO and India's concerns at the WTO. Like there are several aspects, like peace clause is there about food security. Second thing is agreement on agriculture, EOJ is there. Apart from that, subsidies, I think you know very well, the green box subsidies, amber box subsidies, and blue box subsidies, red box subsidies. So about all these boxes of subsidies, and what are the concerns of India taking on these subsidies, etc. You should be thorough before going into the exam, right? So this is also correct statement. TFA came into force in January 2016. I think this factually this date is incorrect. I think it's supposed to came into power, I think, around 2018. But kindly recheck the number once again, year once again. But it is certainly not January 2016. Right. Correct option is option A. Statements 1 and 2 are correct. Next question. Question number 10. Right. With reference to the National Intellectual Property Rights Policy, so this policy has come in 2016. So straight away you will see a question. You are seeing a question in 2017. So with reference to National Intellectual Property Policy, consider the following statements. Statement 1. It reiterates India's commitment to the Doha Development Agenda and the TRIPS agreement. So you should remember that TRIPS is something related with the intellectual property rights, trade related intellectual property rights system, something. So it is part and parcel of WTO agreements. So statement is correct. Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion is the nodal agency for regulating the intellectual property rights in India. So this is also correct statement. DIPP I think now it has been changed as DIPM. So this body is the nodal agency for regulating the IPR related aspects in India. So both the statements are correct. Correct option is option C. Right. Next question, question number 11. Statement. Which of the following is most likely consequence of implementing the Unified Payments Interface, UPI? So I told financial inclusion was a buzzword at that time. So you will continuously see questions about that. So what is the implication about UPI, Unified Payment Interface? And apart from that, we have also Beam, an app works on the UPI system. Now all the private wallets also, like including Paytm, Phone Pay, Google Pay, everything, they have to use the UPI only. Before that, it was not compulsory, right? So like Paytm for many years, it ran its own wallet also, and it was using its own interface. But somewhere around, I think in 2016 or 16, UPI for using all the transactions, especially wallet related transactions, UPI has been made compulsory, right? So option is mobile wallets will not be necessary for online payments. Yes, this is the correct statement. So once UPI has been made mandatory, the mobile wallets are not necessary. Directly we can do transactions from bank to bank or from bank to a businessman directly. Businessman means the small vendor, right? Other statements are like vary, but they are all incorrect, right? Next question, question number 12. Consider the purpose of setting up of small finance banks in India. So very at the time it was also very much in discussion, both the concepts. This one, small banks or small finance banks, and also the payment banks. They were under the news. Again, it is also asked in the context of financial inclusion only. So somehow the government wanted to increase the financial inclusion in the country. I mean, wanted to increase the financial inclusion. Financial services have to be reached to the interior parts of the country. So in that way, RBI has also taken several measures. So as a part of it, the one famous committee has been appointed by RBI, that is Nachiket More Committee. So what to do with respect to increasing to increase the financial inclusion? That committee has recommended that two types of banks can be established. One category of banks is like small finance banks. Second category is payment banks. So to give some examples, there is AU Small Finance Bank. At present, it is the biggest small finance bank in India. So to briefly explain what is the characteristic features of small finance bank, the purpose of these two banks is overall objective, we see it is to increase the financial inclusion, but the conditions are different. So the small finance bank it is almost like a normal bank only, but the area of operation or the the amount of loans or deposits it can take or loans it can give, that has been kind of limited. I think deposits are, at that time, they were restricted to, I think, 1 lakh. Even advances also, it can make only limited advances. Credit also, it can only give to a certain level, up to 1 lakh. So apart from that, 75% of its branches, almost 75 branches have to be in the rural areas. And the priority sector lending, the entire loans advanced by small banks have also to be 75%. They have to be advanced to priority sector lending. I think you know the difference between, the concept of priority sector lending. So for the commercial banks, it is 40%. I think previously also we have seen this question. But for small finance banks, it is kept as 75%. Priority sector lending is certain sectors have been identified as priority. So advances to those sectors or sections are known as priority sector lending. Loans to scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people, loans to agriculture, right? Loans to house construction. Further, later many things have also been added. So now the investments in the green technology, they are also considered as priority sector lending. So this is the concept of priority sector lending. So for small finance banks, it is 75%. Payments banks are a different kind of banks. If you see the examples, you will come to know about the payment banks. Like best example is Paytm Payment Bank, Airtel Payment Bank, right? You have seen this. The most famous example is India Post Payment Banks. India Post Payment Banks. So just they will help in making the payments. They do not, I mean, to certain extent, like I think 2 lakhs till 2 lakhs or 2.5 lakhs, they can accept the deposits. They can operate in a wide area. There is no restriction with the area. They can operate in a wide area, right? Mostly they are used to make payments, right? They are not allowed to advance credit or loan. So similarly, they are not eligible to issue credit card, right? So those kind of conditions are there. These small banks, they can issue credit cards. That option was there to them. But this main constraint is they are restricted to they have to confine to a particular area. So from there comes the name of small bank also. So often there are several developments are going in this area, right? After some time, so this has been realized that the payments bank concept is a faulty concept. This has been realized by the RBI itself, and it allowed after some to convert these payment banks into small finance banks. And after that, when these banks were being started, small banks itself, RBI told that it is there in the guidelines that after operating for several years, if they want, they can convert into normal banks like scheduled commercial banks. So I think they have almost completed almost they are about to complete 10 years, I guess. So 5 years have already been completed for many banks. So they have forced the RBI to issue guidelines. The RBI has issued guidelines to convert the small finance banks to normal banks like scheduled commercial banks. But guidelines, if you see, none of the existing banks, small finance banks, they are not able to fulfill the guidelines given by RBI to be converted into normal scheduled commercial banks. So the small finance banks are very unhappy with the guidelines given by RBI. So try to know about all these things. Lot of developments are going on in the arena of small finance banks. So payments banks completely we can say it is a failure. You know very well the case of payments Paytm Bank. So repeatedly RBI warned it to mend its ways. I mean, there were several lacunae. It was not following the rules and regulations with respect to payment bank rules. The limit is there on deposits like 2 lakh, I think 2 lakh or 2.5 lakh deposits limit is there. But you find RBI has found that there are lakhs and lakhs of rupees deposited in the payment banks of the Paytm Payment Bank. And one more thing is that they have to make sure that KYC of the customers is verified. But Paytm failed to verify the KYC norms for many customers. Actually, those customers whose KYC has been not verified, they were holding huge lakhs and lakhs of money in the Paytm Payments Bank accounts. So several problems are there. So try to know more about the issues with respect to Paytm banks, payment banks and the small banks. There may be a question. We can expect a question because the issue is raising right now. Right. So that is the background of the payment banks. Right. Now we will go to the question. What is the purpose of setting small finance banks in India? Right. First option, to supply credit to small business units. Yes, this is a correct statement. They can take deposits, also they can give loans also. But to a certain limit only they can give loans. Next is to supply credit to small and marginal farmers. Yes, this is also correct. They can even advance loans to agriculture sector. So the very intention of making possible to somehow advance loans to these sectors, agriculture sector, small businesses, because they are unable to access sufficient loans from the traditional banking systems. Right. Third statement, to encourage young entrepreneurs to set up business, particularly in rural areas. So this is somewhat distant. Young entrepreneurs can come forward and set up businesses, but this is not entirely the objective of the purpose of setting up of small finance banks. Very remotely we can connect this statement to small banks. So it is an incorrect statement. Correct option is option A. Statements 1 and 2 are correct. Right. Next question, question number 30. So this act, Prohibition of Benami Property Transactions Act. So at that time, there was an amendment to this act. I think in 2016 itself, uh, uh, there was amendment to this act, and also amendment to PMLA Act also, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, amendment to this act also. So that's why it is in new. So you know very well, during the elections, especially during the, I think 2014 elections, this issue, black money. So black money, it was a big debate between the two major political parties, BJP and Congress. So you know very well, the BJP has promised that it will bring back the black money. The Indians money, which money is, I mean, people who have hid their money in the Swiss banks, the BJP has promised that it will bring back the money. So once they came to power, they have made some efforts, like they have amended the PMLA, and they have amended this act also, Benami Properties Transactions Act. So in this context, the question has been asked. I think we can leave the question for the time being. Right. Next is, it is about the trade agreement with reference to the prohibition. Sorry, this question we have left. Question number 14. Right. Question is, broad-based trade and investment agreement, BTIA, is sometimes seen in the news in the context of negotiations held between India and which of the given following. So it is a trade negotiation between India and European Union. Still we are unable to conclude the agreement because several issues are there. Some of the areas are really concerning, areas like dairy, agriculture. So these are all the problems in the trade agreement, right? So try to know more about what are the hindrances between the European Union, trade agreement between the European Union and India. Right. Next question, question number 15. Right. Question is, the term digital single market strategy seen in the news reference to. So again, it is a straightforward question. It is with respect to European Union. Next question. Right. I think question has been repeated. Right. So it is something related to governance. So we can skip it. Right. So scheme, again one scheme. What is the aim of program Unnat Bharat Abhiyan? So this scheme was somewhat relevant at that time. So the scheme is about connecting institutions of higher education with the local communities to address the development challenges through appropriate technologies. Right. So this scheme has been started in the background that, you know, what is the big problem in India? Whatever we do in the R&D facilities, research and development facilities, or in labs, so there the results will be very good. If you take the example of agriculture itself, we develop various hybrids, various seeds. So in the practical in the research and development settings or in the labs, they will give very good results, right? Very good results are given. So once they come to the field, once they come from lab to field, all the things will fail. No results will come. No improvement will be seen. So this is the major problem in India, translating the results from lab to field. So to address this scheme has been brought in. Somehow the scheme tried to connect the universities with the local settings, and students who are pursuing the higher education, they themselves will come to the hinterland and they will try to find out some innovative solutions for the problems that have been faced by the people, especially people living in the hinterland. Right. That is the scheme. Next question, question number right. Question number 19. That question is, the global infrastructure facility is a or an. So directly it is about the World Bank collaboration that facilitates the preparation and structuring of complex infrastructure, PPPs, public-private partnerships, to enable mobilization of private sector and institutional investor capital. So something related to that one. World Bank helping creation of infrastructure in the developing countries. So to enable private companies to invest in the developing countries in the infrastructure development, the mechanism has been brought in. It is a credit mechanism, nothing but Global infrastructure facility is a kind of credit support given to the developing countries and private sector organization. Right. Next question. With reference to National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, NIIF. Which of the following statements is correct? So right now we have like two schemes similar to this one only. National Infrastructure Pipeline, and second thing is, I think, monetization of assets. There is an initiative from the Finance Ministry, something related to monetizing the lands, especially the lands that are under the control of railways and other public sector undertakings. So something related to monetization. I am unable to completely recollect the name of that scheme. So this scheme is also something related to that one only, National Infrastructure Investment Fund. So at that time this initiative has been brought in to develop infrastructure in India, right? Something similar to National Infrastructure Pipeline only. Okay. Statements are, it is an organ of Niti Aayog. No, it is not at all an organ of Niti Aayog. It is a just fund. It is a fund created. So whatever the companies that are taking place in the building of infrastructure, loans have been advanced to those companies. That's it. It has an corpus of 4 lakh crores at present. So this is also factually incorrect. Some figure was different. So it is not 4 lakh crores. I think it was 40,000 crore or something. I am also not sure with the number, but this is not the correct number. Right. Correct option is option D. Both the statements given are incorrect. Right. Question number 21. Question is, which of the following are the objectives of National Nutrition Mission? So you can consider this question in the health topic. So nutrition mission, you know, it is brought in to address the at that time, you know, still the stunting and wasting in the children, stunting and wasting. So these are associated with hunger, like hidden hunger and chronic hunger. So these like problems are there, especially children, under 5 children, there are several problems. The infant mortality, neonatal mortality and under 5 mortality, all these mortalities, we are able to reduce them to a certain extent, but still there are problems. Still they are not at the acceptable level. Try to follow the National Family Health Service also. Whenever the survey results come, you will come to know about these problems. National Family Health Survey, NFHS. I think 6th survey results have also come. So apart from that, stunting, wasting, underweight will also be a problem. Underweight. So these 3 issues are associated with children, especially under 5 children, and one particular problem, that is anemia. ANAE, anemia. This is something related to women, especially women in the reproductive age. So anemia is a very big problem in India. More than 50% of the women are anemic in India. I think the number is around 55%, right? So all these are mentioned in the all this information will come through the National Family Health Survey. So to address especially the problems of children, stunting, wasting and underweight, the National Nutrition Mission has been come. Alternative name for this mission is Poshan Abhiyan. Poshan Abhiyan. So this program is a mission mode program. It has been brought to address especially the hunger issue in the children. So associated with this is another topic, that is hunger index, global hunger index, GHI. So try to look for the latest figures. I think present ranking of India is 107 among the 121 countries. So something like that. So we have fallen behind compared with the many of our neighbors like Sri Lanka, Pakistan. Even we have fallen behind with the when we are compared with the African countries also, even the sub-Saharan African countries. So there are a lot of issues associated with global hunger index also. So try to have an idea about what all happening around the nutrition. Right. So fastly we will see the options in the question. Right. Statement 1. To create awareness relating to malnutrition and among pregnant women and lactating mothers. Yes, this is a correct statement. So if you want to attack the malnutrition from the infancy stage itself or from the pregnancy stage itself, we have to target the malnutrition. So this is a correct statement. To reduce the incidence of anemia among young children, adolescent girls and women. Yes, this is also correct statement. Anemia was also a target. Statement 3. To promote the consumption of millets, coarse cereals and unpolished rice. I think it should be there in the options, but I don't know. Option given in the by the answer given by the UPSC, it has not included, but they should be there. Promote the consumption of millets, coarse cereals and unpolished rice. We can say this actually, if you make use of this, we can address the malnutrition, but I think it is not part of the National Nutrition Mission, right? Under the National Nutrition Mission or Poshan Abhiyan, some feeding centers were there. In that feeding centers, the products made by these millets, coarse cereals, that kind of food has been produced. Still it has to be there in the options, but no. Next is promote the consumption of poultry eggs. This is, we can say random statement, very disconnected. Still we can promote the consumption of eggs, but not exactly poultry eggs. The particular statement is not there. So statement 3 is remotely related to the scheme only, but however, we can take either of the option A also, option B also becomes correct. Okay. So anyhow, this is about the scheme, Poshan Abhiyan. Right. Next, another scheme, Vidyanjali Yojana. It is something about improving the education system in the rural areas. So at that time, this scheme was also popular. So for the time being, we can skip this question. Right. So these are the questions in 2017. Fairly a good number. Question is 22. So approximately 20 questions have been asked from the economics subject. So at one point of time, the weightage for economics was more than polity. So it was the one of the largest subjects from which the questions used to be asked. Now I think more number of questions are being asked from the polity. Second number is, I guess, for economics. Right. However, we will see the next, we will start the next set of questions. Questions from 2016. Right. Question is, with reference to the IFC, Masala bonds, sometimes seen in the news, which of the statements given below is or are correct? Right. Statement 1, the International Finance Corporation, which offers these bonds, is an arm of the World Bank. Yes. So you should know that World Bank, the World Bank, so it is association of 5 entities are there. So in that IBRD is the major agency, IBRD. Apart from that, you will also see IFC, International Financial Corporation. Apart from that, other 3 agencies are also there. So the consortium of 5 agencies, it is together called as World Bank. So this statement is correct. Second statement, they are rupee denominated bonds and are source of debt financing for the public and private sector. So this is also correct statement. Right, both the statements are correct. Statement 1 and 2. Right. Next question. In the context of which of the following do you sometimes find the terms amber box, blue box, green box in the news? So just now I have discussed, it is with the WTO affairs, and these are something related to subsidies. Subsidies given by various countries, they have been classified like that: green box subsidies, amber box subsidies, and blue box subsidies. Right. Try to know more about the subsidies. What is meant by green box subsidy? What is meant by amber box, etc. Right. Next question. It is again simple and straightforward question. Recently, which of the following currencies have been proposed to be added to the basket of IMF's SDR, right? SDR is full form is statutory drawing rights. It is a statutory drawing rights. It is a combination of 5 currencies: the dollar, the euro, etc., etc. 5 currencies are there. So renminbi is the currency of China. So it has been proposed that at that time this also has to be included in the SDR. So because Chinese clout is increasing in all the world multilateral bodies, so you know the saga of China and WHO, World Health Organization, during the COVID-19 period. So it has been alleged that WHO was cold in singling out China and calling for stricter measures on China during the initial period of the COVID-19, because the earlier USA used to be the dominant donor for all the organizations, multilateral organizations including WHO, but however China has overcrossed USA and it is dominant at WHO right now. So Chinese clout is increasing, so it is the result of that only. So anyway, answer is renminbi. Next question, question number 3. Right. So India's ranking in the ease of doing business is sometimes seen in the news. Which of the following is declared? Which of the following declares that ranking? So World Bank declares that ranking. Previously we have seen that the ranking has been stopped because some countries are manipulating the ranking to attract investment from the foreign countries. So I think it has been stopped somewhere in 2019 or 20, something like that. So we will see whether it will be started or not started. But at that time when the rankings were given, India has there was a great saga, great thing that India jumped into the top 100 countries, and the target has been decided that it should also come into the top 50 countries. Ranking, India jumped largely. It suddenly came into top 100. Further, India's rank was drastically increasing. So that was the story. So because of that, ease of doing business ranking was many times was in the news, because India's ranking was drastically improving year by year. Right. Now it has been stopped. We will see whether it will be restarted or not. Next question number 4. Consider the following statements. Statement: New Development Bank has been set up by the APEC. So this is an incorrect statement. You know, NDC. It is the initiative of the BRICS countries, right? The headquarters of the New Development Bank is Shanghai. Yes, this is Shanghai, China. The the capital, or we can say the headquarters of New Development Bank is NDB, is at Shanghai. Right. Next question, with reference to the International Monetary Financial Committee, IMFC, consider the following statements. Right. Statement 1. IMF discusses the matters of concern affecting the global economy and advises the International Monetary Fund on the direction of its work. So this is correct statement. Second statement, the World Bank participates as an observer in the MFC's meetings. So this is also correct statement. Both the statements are correct with respect to IMFC. Right. Next statement, Global Financial Stability Report is prepared by which of the below? So it is prepared by International Monetary Fund. So you remember at that time the indexes, the rankings, the reports, they used to be repeatedly asked in the examination. Now I think they are not asking that much, but during that time, 2016, 17, 18 time, they were asking a lot. Next question, question number 7. Which of the following best describes the term import cover? Import cover that is seen in news. So it is something related to the number of months of imports that could be paid for by a country's international reserves. So we have our foreign exchange reserves, right? So it is something related to foreign exchange reserves only. So how much, for how many months we can pay for the imports we are importing from other countries. that is the import cover. So this import cover came into news, no, during the 1991 economic reforms only. We have meagerly at that time had to meet the import cover. We had, our import cover has drastically reduced. We have the foreign reserves to pay for only 7 days of imports. That was the bad situation at that time, right? So now it has bettered a lot. We have one of the, we are holding the one of the largest foreign exchange reserves in the entire world, right? So this is something related to the import of goods and capability of a country to pay for the imports. Next question, question number 8. With reference to Financial Stability and Development Council, consider the following statements. So it is something related to banking. We have also discussed yesterday, right? Financial Stability and Development Council. So there was at some time there was a conflict between Reserve Bank of India and UTI. There was a tussle or conflict between RBI and UTI. UTI is Unit Trust of India. So some issue related to regulation. I should regulate, said RBI. No, I should regulate, was saying the UTI. So there was a conflict. So to address that conflict, to take the regulatory aspect, this body has been formed, Financial Stability and Development Council. So it is not an organ of Niti Aayog. It is an independent organ itself. It is an independent organization itself. It has been headed by Union Finance Minister. Yes, Finance Minister was the head of it. It monitors macro-prudential supervision of the economy. Yes, this statement is also correct. Correct option is C. Statements 2 and 3 are correct. Next question. All right. Question related to payment banks. The establishment of payment banks is being allowed in India to promote financial inclusion. Which of the following statements is or are correct in the context? Right. Statement 1. Mobile telephone companies and supermarket chains that are owned and controlled by residents are eligible to be promoters of payment banks. Yes, this is a correct statement. Famous examples, I have already taken the names. Airtel Payment Bank and Paytm Payment Bank. So these are mobile telephone companies. One is Airtel is the mobile company only. It has started the payment bank. So first statement is correct. Statement 2. Payment banks can issue both credit cards and debit cards. So this is an incorrect statement. I told they are not eligible to advance loans. So similarly, they are not allowed to issue credit card also, right? Next statement. Payment banks cannot undertake lending activities. Yes, this is a correct statement. So they cannot undertake lending activity, and further they cannot issue credit card also. So when there is no concept of lending, how the credit card issuance of credit card also will not arise, right? Correct option is option B. Statement 1 and 3 are correct. Next question. Question number 9. So with which is or are the purpose or purposes of the marginal cost funds based lending rate, MCLR, announced by RBI? It is something related to loans made by the advances made by the banks to the customers. So these guidelines help improve the transparency in the methodology followed by the banks for determining the interest rates on advances. So this is correct statement. The guidelines help ensure availability of bank credit at interest rates which are fair to the borrowers as well as banks. So this is also correct statement. Correct option is C. Both the statements 1 and 2 are correct. Next statement. What is or are the purposes of government's sovereign gold bond scheme and gold monetization scheme? So these two schemes have been brought in to address the gold demand in India. You know, availability of gold is very, very less in our country, but people's demand is very high. So at once upon a time, China used to be the largest importer, but however, I think a decade earlier or some 6 to 7 years back, we have crossed China and we are the largest importer of gold. You know, lot of our foreign exchange is going towards only two major imports. One is crude oil and next one is the gold, right? And also you know very well, investment in gold is a non-productive investment. No further use will be there, right? So instead we invest money in a productive way. At least we park the money in the banks. That will be useful. Further, entrepreneurs, they can take loans from the banks. They can create some economic activity through which employment will be generated, production will be done. But if you purchase gold, it is a non-productive investment. We cannot do further much. We cannot do any further economic activity. It won't generate employment, right? It won't further produce goods, etc. So to address that issue, to reduce the demand for the actual gold, so these schemes have been brought in: the sovereign gold bond scheme, the gold monetization scheme. So if you know the provisions of the schemes, you will understand how it can help. But broadly, we can say these two schemes are a failure. Not much success has come from these two schemes also. However, we will see the provisions of the schemes. Question related to the schemes. Right. Statement 1. These guidelines help. Statement 1. To bring the idle gold lying with Indian households into the economy. Yes, this was one of the objectives of the scheme. Second one is to promote FDI in the gold and jewelry sector. So this is incorrect statement, not related to the scheme. To reduce India's dependence on gold imports. So this is also a correct statement. So the first scheme, it is something like issuing paper gold. The paper or bond that will be given to the person, it will have the value of the gold. So whenever that person comes with the bond at a particular, after the bond has matured, so the present value of the gold or something, when the person has come to encash his bond, that amount will be paid to the person. So effectively, if a person is buying gold and that person is selling the gold at particular time after 2 years, 1 year, so the prevailing rate at that time will be paid, something like that. The scheme was meant like that, right? Next is gold monetization. It is something like that. The private households or the entities, they will bring their gold into the bank, and the gold will be split into certain standard denominations, and the gold will stay in the bank, and for that the person or the entity, they will get the interest rate. So after some time they can take back their gold, or if they want, they can take back the equal amount of money, the value of the gold money they can take back. So something like that, the scheme was meant to do something like that. So just the schemes have been made with the intention of just reducing the attraction for Indians in the investment of gold, or to reduce the actual purchase of the gold. This was the major concept behind these two schemes. Right. Correct option is option C. Statements 1 and 3 are correct. Right. Next question, question number 11. Which of the following is or are included in the capital budget of the Government of India? So I think we have seen this question. All these things, expenditure and acquisition of assets like roads, buildings and machinery, it is considered as capital investment. Statement 2. Loans received from foreign governments, it is also considered as a capital investment. Loans and advances granted to the states and union territories. So this is also a considered as a what should I say, capital investment, capital budget. But there is a problem with the third issue. So the advances that are made to the states and union territories, the center is considering them as capital budget. But what the states are doing further, once they have taken loan, they were spending that money for revenue, under revenue expenditure. So this was an anomaly. Experts have called for addressing this anomaly, but no further step has been taken till now. So we will wait and see what happens with that. So option is option D. All the statements are correct. Next question. It is something related to Uday scheme. So we can skip this scheme. Next is Stand Up India scheme. So we will see about the scheme. So with reference to Stand Up India scheme, which of the following statements is or are correct? Right. Statement 1, its purpose is to promote the entrepreneurship among the SC, ST and women entrepreneurs. Yes, this is a correct statement. It provides for refinance through SIDB. Yes, this is a correct statement. So do you know the concept what is meant by refinancing? So whenever the banks advance loans under the scheme, Stand Up India scheme, to various entrepreneurs, SC, ST and women entrepreneurs, so the loans amount of loan that has been advanced to these sections, the SIDB will provide that equal amount to the bank. That is meant by refinance. Right. So both the statements are correct. Correct option is option C. Next question. Next again one scheme. Swayam, an initiative of Government of India, aims at it provides affordable and quality education to citizens for free. So you can say it is a self-learning platform. Swayam is a self-learning digital platform. There you can go, you can create your login username and password. You can log in and you can take a course. Many online courses will be there. Just you can take the course, you can give the exams. If you pass the exam, certificate also be granted to you digitally. So this is a way of revolutionizing the higher education in the country. Right. Right. Next is Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana is aimed at bringing all the small entrepreneurs into formal financial system. So Mudra Yojana, very important scheme at that time during the 2016-17 time. So there are three categories of loans are there under Mudra Yojana: micro, Shishu, something like that. Sishu, Kaumar. So the MSMEs, they have been divided into three categories, something like that. I am unable to recollect all the three names, under which there is a limit. Under Shishu category, we can grant loan up to this much, up to 1 lakh. So like that, Shishu, Kaumar, and one more name is there. So the categories were there. So under this category, the micro enterprises, they have been advanced loans. So popularly, Raghuram Rajan also expressed concern about these loans, especially 5,000 loans have been given to many people, like the day-to-day tailors, any work. If they have involved in any work, they are doing that work, loans have been given. So basically these loans are non-guaranteed loans. So no guarantee is there against these loans. So against these loans also Raghuram Rajan has expressed his concern once he has demitted the office of RBI, demitted the position of, or we can say post of RBI governor. Right. So try to know more about this scheme also. Apart from that, many other schemes also there, like loanin59minutes.com, one more scheme is there, etc., etc. So try to keep track about the MSME sector. It is a very important area with respect to our examination. Right. So Atal Pension Yojana, very popular scheme. So it is something related to pension. We can say it is also a failure at the end, because we are unable to attract many people into the pension scheme. This pension, again, it failed to penetrate into the population. Right. So try to know more about the pension scheme also, Atal Pension Yojana also. Next is the term of base erosion and profit shifting is sometimes seen in the news in the context of which of the following. So we have seen, I think, in the first session of economics also we have seen, that is the private companies, or we have seen question something like this, that is transferring of shares, transfer of shares from a Indian subsidiary to a parent company that is there in the other company. So I am unable to recollect the name again. So it is to avoid payment of taxes on profits and in India. So they are in effect they are trying to just shift the profits from India to other country, especially United States of America or parent company, wherever it is there, without paying tax in India. So for that, we have requested G20 to address this issue. Right, discussions are going on about this in the G20. Right. So this is also question is also something related to that one only. Right. The question is, the term base erosion and profit shifting is sometimes seen in news in the context of which of the following? So it is curbing of the tax evasion by multinational companies. So multinational companies, they somehow or the other, they try to evade the tax in India, though they are effectively doing business in India and earning profits in India. Examples are plenty, like Amazon, Google, Facebook, right? They are effectively doing business in India, but they just don't want to pay taxes in India, right? So that is the thing. Next question, question number 18. So it is something related to deficit budget. So, right, we can skip the question because of the paucity of time. Again, it is a scheme, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. It has brought in 2015. So you can also skip this question because at the time scheme was popular. So again, for 2 to 3 years, the scheme was running all right. So, but after that, we can say earlier it was mandatory for the farmers who were taking loans. So right, who were taking loans from the banks, that was it was mandatory for the farmers. And initial period, right, scheme was brought in 2015 till 2016-17. All were enthusiastic about the scheme. But after that, what happened? Due to political reasons, some states have brought in their own these schemes, insurance schemes related to farmers and agriculture. So they were not willing to follow this scheme. Like states like Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, they have brought in their own agriculture insurance schemes. So because of all these reasons, and also we can say there are a lot of problems. Implementation is not that much proper. We have to conduct these experiments under the scheme, crop cutting experiments, right? Crop cutting experiments before deciding the value of the loss. So these things are not going well. So we can say the functioning of the scheme has somewhat dwindled, right? So this is about the scheme. However, correct statement about this is the scheme covers post-harvest losses arising out of cyclones and unseasonal rains. Yes, this is a correct statement, but this time period has been, I think, confined to 2 weeks after the harvest. So up to 2 weeks after the harvesting of the produce, post-harvest losses are also covered under the insurance. If loss happens after the harvest also, there is a cover for insurance. All right. So first is option about the uniform premium rate. The premium is not uniform. So for the Kharif crop, it is, I think, 2%. For the Rabi crop, it is 1.5%. And for the other crops like plantation crops and commercial crops, it is uniform rate, it is 5%. So try to know about the differences in the premium rates in the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Right. Try to know about the performance of the scheme also. Right. So next question is about district mineral foundations. So at that time, an amendment has been made to the Mining Act, Mines and Minerals Act, somewhere around, I think, 2013. This time, MMD, Mines and Minerals Development Act, this has been amended. So in this context, the question has been asked, right? So, right. So for the time being, because we have less time, I'm skipping the question. The next question, which of the following is the indicator or indicators used by IFPRI to compute Global Hunger Index report? So I was mentioning about the Global Hunger Index, India's ranking. We have got a very poor rank. I think ranking is 107 among the 121 countries, the latest ranking as far as I remember, right? So which it is asking which of the below are considered for deciding the ranking. Undernourishment, yes, it is considered. Child stunting, child mortality. So all these are considered in the ranking. So correct option is option C. Statements 1, 2, 3 are correct. So the contention of the Indian government is also this one. So you are giving undue weightage, lot of weightage to the children, that too under 5 children. So the stunting, child mortality, all these are counted till for the under 5 children only. The Indian government argues that you are giving lot of weightage to just a small fraction of the society, that is children, that too under 5 children. What about the rest of the population? So that is the one of the contentions of India. But you know very well, the health of the child only decides the future. I mean, if a child is healthy only, in the future also the child, I mean, he will or she will go into a healthy citizen. So that is also there. However, controversies are also there about the ranking. Try to know about all the things, like what is the contention of the global hunger index, how they are supporting or substantiating their arguments, and what are the arguments of India, right? How far they are correct. India says that you are giving only a lot of weightage to small section of the society, that is children, and also you are not taking into consideration our food security programs like Poshan Abhiyan, targeted public distribution system is there. You are not at all considering those programs. Apart from that, you are taking, this is actually a opinion based survey. So you are taking just opinion based survey. Your sample size is very less. Your methodology is not correct. So these are the arguments of the Indian government. So try to know more about what is the actually global hunger index, what are the issues with it, what are the components of it, etc., etc. You should have all the information, right? So this is about 2016 questions. So 21. So if you if you consider some questions as schemes and polity questions also, so it is also fair number. You can like 19 to 20 questions. You can consider the economics questions. Still, it is a very good number only, right? Right. So if you see the 2014 and 2015 questions, they are relatively small and comparatively easy questions also, because at that time these type of questions are being asked generally. Right. First question is, the substitution of steel for wooden plows in agriculture production is an example of which of the following? So kind of at that time large debate was going on. So what kind of investment it was? So it is capital augmenting technological progress. So if you use the wooden plow, that will be, some depreciation is high for the wooden plow. In place of wooden plow, if you use the steel plow, it will not depreciate that much. So the depreciation is very comparatively less when we compare with the wooden plow. So it is capital augmented. There is some capital augmentation. We are using the capital for longer time. So it is a capital augmenting technological progress. Next question, which of the following best describes the main objective of seed village concept? So at that time, you know now, the seeds for the farmers is still a problem, right? Yesterday, I think we have seen some questions related to seeds. One concept is there, that is seed replacement ratio, right? SR, seed replacement ratio, SRR. So it is whether the farmer is using the new seeds, hybrid seeds for each crop or not. So what is generally Indian farmers do is, so they will buy the seeds for one time and they grow sow the seeds, crop will come. So the farmer saves the seeds from that particular crop and he sows the saved seeds for the next 2 to 3 crops. So though the farmer will be saving some amount in this way by not purchasing seeds repeatedly, but the reused seeds that are coming from regular crop production, they are not that we can say productive. They do not yield much. So because of that reason, if the farmer purchases the hybrid seeds or well developed seeds from a company or from the government organizations, many government facilities are also there, like PUSA, etc. They will also be producing seeds, good variety seeds. So if the farmer purchases those good variety seeds and he uses for sowing, it will give better production. Those seeds will give better production. So that was the problem at that time. So to address that, seed village concept has been brought in. So some dedicated villages be there. They will be growing seeds. Only those seeds can be purchased by farmers only for the purpose of sowing. So that is the concept. That is the concept of seed village program. Some villages, farmers in some villages, designated villages, they will be growing these kind of seeds only. The seeds, kind of better variety of seeds which can be used for further sown by farmers. So the statement, improving the farmers, involving the farmers for training in quality seed production and thereby make available quality seeds to others at appropriate time and affordable cost. This was the objective of the seed village program. Next is the fair and remunerative price of sugarcane is approved by which of the following. So it is approved by Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. So same with the MSP also, minimum support price. The CACP recommends the price. It will not be approved. CACP recommends the price. And the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs approves the MSP. But most of the times, 99%, whatever the price is recommended, 99% the Cabinet Committee approves the prices. Right. Next question, the index of 8 core industries. In the index of 8 core industries, which of the following is given the highest weight? So among the given ones, electricity is given the highest, we can say, weightage. So try to know the 8 core industries. Cement is there, steel production is there, fertilizer production is there, etc., etc. Some core industries are there. So all these are part of core industry only. Core sector. Core industries only. So try to know more about that one. I think if oil, crude oil, something is there, oil and gas is there, I think it has given the highest weightage among all the core industries. So try to know more about the core industries also. Next is which of the following brings out the consumer price index number for industrial workers. So I was saying about the inflations various. CPI is there, WPI is there, wholesale price index to measure the inflations. In CPI there are several again sub-classifications for industrial workers. CPI for agricultural labor is also there, etc., etc. So for industrial workers, it is released by the Labor Bureau. Next question, which one of the following issues the Global Economic Prospects report periodically? Correct option is World Bank. So I was mentioning during that time, 16, 17, 14 times, reports and indexes were very much in news. Next question, the terms agreement on agriculture. So I was also mentioning these terms with respect to WTO and India. Right. Agreement on agriculture, agreement on the application of sanitary and phytosanitary measures, and peace clause appear in the news frequently in the context of affairs of the WTO, World Trade Organization. So peace clause is there, especially with respect to India only. Food security, stockpiling of food grains for the purpose of ensuring food security for the people of India. Actually, WTO, under WTO there are restrictions under the food grains that can be stored. So the storage of food grains should not lead to distortion in the international trade. So for that there are restrictions on the storage of food grains. But in countries like India, where many people are poor, below poverty line, we have to store food grains because in the past we have seen famines and deaths related to food grains. So because of that reason, there are certain exemptions given to developing countries, right? So there are percentages like 5% up to 5% of the total production like that. the developed countries can store up to 10% of the value of the total production. The developing countries can store the food grains, but India wants that this is a very less number, and for deciding the value also, the developed countries are insisting the using the decades back rates like 1880s, 1890s rates. Still now, even now also these prices only used. India wants that the prices also have to be updated, right? So on the storage, India wants that India needs a permanent agreement for to make sure that there is no problem for any country if India stores the food grains. No country should object. So India wants a permanent solution for this, that no country should oppose, because there are lot many poor people in India, and India has to store the food grains. So there is no permanent agreement reached as according to the India's demand. So temporary measure is peace clause. So there is a peace clause. Under the peace clause, no country could object India if India stores the food grains for the purpose of food security until a permanent agreement reaches. So peace clause is a temporary mechanism. Right. That is about the peace clause. So agreement on agriculture also something related to that one only, storing and trading of agricultural food grains. Right. So try to know more about that one also. Next is Basel III Accord, or simply Basel III, often seen in the news related to. So it is something related to banking norms only. Basel norms, they are the broad parameters for the banks. They have to maintain certain standards, especially the financial standards. It is something related to that one. Improving banking sector's ability to deal with the financial and economic stress and improve risk management. Next is convertibility of rupee implies. So I think we have also seen one question related to full convertibility and partial convertibility, right? So it is freely permitting the conversion of rupee to other currencies and vice versa. That is known as convertibility. So you know very well, we have full convertibility of rupee when it comes to current account, but we have allowed only partial convertibility in the capital account. So try to remember those aspects. Next question, question number 10. Right. There has been a persistent deficit budget year after year. Which of the following actions can be taken by the government to reduce the deficit? Right. Option A, reducing revenue expenditure. Yes, we can take this. By this, we can reduce the deficit in the budget. Introducing new welfare schemes. So this will further increase the deficit, because if we initiate the welfare schemes, we have to spend the money. So it is not a correct statement. Rationalizing subsidies. So rationalizing means somewhat the subsidies in our country are irrational. We are giving subsidies more than actually required. So this will also help. This will also help reduce the fiscal deficit, or whatever that is, budget deficit. Expanding industries, right? So this can also, we cannot exactly say by expanding the industries the fiscal deficit or budget deficit will be reduced. It is something unrelated. Either it can reduce or either it can increase also. We cannot conclusively say. So correct option is option 1 and 3. Statements 1 and 3 are correct. Correct option is option C. Next question, question number 11. With the reference to inflation in India, which of the following statements is correct? Right. Statement 1. The correct statement with reference to India, decreased money circulation helps controlling the inflation. So I think in the previous sessions already we have discussed elaborately the relationship between the circulation of money and the inflation. So I think you can easily answer this question. Option C is the correct one. Next is the problem of international liquidity is related to the non-availability of dollars and other hard currencies. So this is the liquidity problem, because you know all the international trade now takes place in dollars only. So that is the answer. When there is a problem in the international liquidity means there is problem in the availability of dollars. Right. Next question, question number 13. With reference to 14th Finance Commission, which of the following statements is or are correct? Statement 1. So I think somewhat outdated question only. Now we have also constituted, I think 16th Finance Commission has also, sorry, 15th Finance Commission has been constituted. We have completed 15th Finance Commission also, right? So we can skip this question for the time being. Next question, with reference to Indian economy, consider the following statements. So it is something related to GDP, and much things have changed since 2015. It is almost 10 years. So we can also skip this question. Right. So this is concept related. We will see this question. Question number 15. A decrease in the tax to GDP ratio of a country indicates which of the following? So it indicates the slowing economic growth rate. Yes, this is a correct statement. Less equitable distribution of national income. So we cannot conclusively say when there is a decrease in the tax to GDP ratio. So first you have to understand what is meant by tax to GDP ratio. So it is GDP is there, like GDP is there. So the taxes collected by us, how much percentage of they are in the total GDP. So the optimum level is 20%. The developing countries, in developing countries, it is somewhat related to 20 to hovering around 20%. You know what is the case for India? We are still at, I think, hovering around 6 to 7%. Tax to GDP ratio is very, very low in India. So we are unable to tax the people properly. And also one more thing, tax evasion itself is very high in India. Right. So you know, many independent professionals like doctors, teachers, lawyers, these somehow or the other they avoid paying taxes, right? So you know, the number of tax paying people is in the 140 crore population. People who pay direct taxes, that to income tax, it is hovering around 1 to 1.5 crore. So some 4 to 5 years back, it was hovering around 1 crore. So it is a very, very less number if you see. So this area has to improve. We have to bring in more and more people into the tax bracket to increase the tax GDP ratio. So once tax GDP ratio increases only, then we will have sufficient money to spend on the welfare programs, etc., etc. So government will have more money, so we can spend on wherever we want, like welfare schemes, development, infrastructure development. Even we can strengthen our defense also. But the problem for our tax to GDP ratio itself is very, very less. Which means we are collecting very less taxes. All right. So these are the issues. Try to know more issues related to tax to GDP ratio and what are the pitfalls, what is our level and what is the optimum level, etc., etc. Try to know all these things. Next, question number 16. With reference to Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, again there is a question on Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Consider the following statements. Right. Statement 1. Under the scheme, right? Under the scheme, farmers will have to pay a uniform premium of 2%. I think the question is repeated. Sorry. Right. Question number 17. Question number 17. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana has been launched for which of the following? So Jan Dhan Yojana also I think launched during the period of 2014 or 15. I'm not exactly sure, but either of the 2 years this has been launched. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, I think it is in 2014 only, right? Has been launched for which of the following? So it is for promoting financial inclusion in the country. So with this only the slogan JAM has come, Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and Mobile. The financial inclusion, it has been revolutionized with the help of Aadhaar, Mobile and Jan Dhan accounts. Right. Next question, question number 18. So it is something related to planning. Consider the following statements. Statement 1. Accelerated Irrigation Benefits Program was launched during 1996-97. to provide loan assistance to poor farmers. So this is incorrect statement. It is not about providing loans to poor farmers. It was development of land activity has been taken place, land development activity taken place, especially in the arid regions, arid and drought prone regions. So that was the main aim of the aim of the scheme. And also the year is also, I think it is not that particular year, right? Year is same, but the purpose of it is not to provide the loans. It is to improve the land area in the arid regions and the semi-arid regions, especially the dry lands, by providing means of irrigation. Right. So that is accelerated irrigation benefit program. So under this program, we were also building the one of the major components. I think it has 3 components: accelerated irrigation benefit program, watershed development is there, a micro irrigation facility is also there, to development of micro irrigation facilities like drips, using drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, etc., and the development of watershed considering watershed development programs were there. Apart from that, completing the large dams, big dams, which they have reached, already commissioning of that projects has happened. They have reached a certain level, they have completed up to a certain extent, and to complete them speedily, that is accelerated irrigation benefit program. Right. The benefit program, or it is also alternatively called as accelerated irrigation development program also it is called. So something related to that one. Next is the command area development program was launched in 1974-75 for the development of water use efficiency. Yes, this is a correct statement. The program has been launched in 1974-75 to improve the water use efficiency. Next question, question number 19. In India, markets in agricultural products are regulated under the APMC, right? APMC, Agricultural Produce Market Committee, enacted by the states. So there is a central act, Model APMC Act. So based on that, all the states have enacted their respective APMC acts. Next is Government of India has established Niti Aayog. Very straightforward question, to replace the Planning Commission. I think easiest question in the entire questions we have seen. Next question, 21. When the Reserve Bank of India reduces the statutory liquidity ratio by 50 basis points, which of the following likely to happen? So this is something related to banking. So when the Reserve Bank of India reduces the statutory liquidity ratio, so I have yesterday itself explained what is meant by SLR, statutory liquidity ratio. So this means a portion of its deposits, the bank has to keep that asset deposits in the liquidity form, that to statutory liquidity. So it has to either buy the bonds or the securities of the government. That is meant by statutory liquidity ratio. So when the Reserve Bank of India reduces that rate, the bank will have more funds at its disposal to lend. So then it can reduce, it can itself reduce the interest rates, so that more and more people will come and take the loans. So this is the obvious outcome. All right. Next is, with reference to Indian economy, consider the following statements. Consider the following. Right. Statements, options are bank rate, open market operations, public debt, revenue, public revenue. Which of the above is or are component or components of monetary policy? So clearly bank rate, OMO, open market operations, are the components of monetary policy. Public debt is something related to fiscal policy. It is not related to monetary policy. So remember, monetary policy is the instruments or measures that can take, that comes under the monetary policy. So aspects that are related with the government, or especially with the finance ministry, those come under the fiscal policy. So public debt is a fiscal policy. Public revenue, it is also a fiscal component of fiscal policy. Correct option is option C. Statements 1 and 2 are correct. Next question, 23. Right. With reference to inflation in India, which of the following statements is correct? So with respect to inflation, decreased money circulation helps in controlling the inflation. We have seen this repeatedly. Next question, with reference to Indian renewable energy. So we can skip this question. You can see this in environment. So these are the questions in 2015. Fairly very lot many number of questions have been asked in 2015. So one more thing is, mostly the questions are related to schemes also. We have seen almost 6 to 7 questions based on the schemes like Mudra Yojana, Fasal Bima Yojana, Atal Pension Yojana, etc., etc. So make sure that you will also well prepared about the schemes. Right. So last year, 2014, we will quickly see the questions related to 2014 also. Right. So questions are, in the context of food and nutritional security of India, enhancing the seed replacement rates. So again the concept is coming of various crops helps in achieving the food production targets of the future. But what is or are the constraints in the wider or greater implementation of this? So statements are, there is no national seed policy in place. No, we have a national seed policy. We have a particular act also, the Seed Act of India. I think it is enacted somewhere during 1960s. Second statement, there is no participation of private sector seed companies in the supply of quality seeds of vegetables and planting materials of horticulture crops. So this is also incorrect. The private companies are participating, like Mahindra and Mahindra, many other companies are there, they are participating. Next is, there is a demand supply gap regarding quality of seeds in case of low value, high volume crops. So low value, high volume crops are the cereal crops only, like paddy, wheat. So these are known as low value for these crops is low if you see money wise, but the volume is very high. So in these areas, in these crop areas, the participation of the private companies is, or demand supply is hugely there. So this is the correct statement. Correct option is option B. Only statement 3 is correct. Next question, which of the following organizations which of the following organizations brings the publication known as World Economic Outlook? So IMF, International Monetary Fund, brings that one. Next question, which of the following are associated with the planning in India? So I think polity also we have seen this question. So 2, the National Development Council. There I explained what is the National Development Council. The Parliament. Both these two will play a role in the planning. Next is question number 3. The major objective of the 12th five-year plan is, so the major objective of the plan is this one: faster, sustainable and more inclusive growth. So if you see the 11th plan slogan or objective is, major objective is, it was sustainable and inclusive growth. That was the motto of the 11th plan. The motto of the 12th plan was faster, sustainable and more inclusive growth. Next is, if the interest rate is decreased in an economy, it will, what happens? So increase in the investment expenditure in the economy will increase. So this is the correct statement. Right. If interest rate is decreased in an economy, so that will certainly lead to increase in the investment expenditure in the economy. Rest of the statements are incorrect. So what does venture capital mean? So venture capital is a long-term startup capital provided to new entrepreneurs. Right. Next is marginal standing facility rate. So previously also this statement has come, or phrase has come. And the net demand time liabilities sometimes appear in news, are used in relation to which of the below? So it is related to banking, something related to banking operations. Next question, what is or are the facility or facilities the beneficiaries can get from the services of business correspondent or bank sathi in the branchless areas. So now bank sathi is also, it is alternatively apart from bank sathi, it is also called as bank sakhi, because the women, those who are part of the self-help groups, so one of those members, they have been appointed as the banking correspondent, and they are popularly known as bank sakhi. So benefits, if you see, statement 1, it enables the beneficiaries to draw their subsidies and social security benefits in their villages. Yes, this is a correct statement. So they will have a machine, right? So in that, just they can put their thumb impression. So Aadhaar, all the payments or deposits are Aadhaar enabled. So AEPS is there, Aadhaar enabled payment systems are there. Just they have to put their thumb, the verification will be done. So they will get, if they want to withdraw money, they can withdraw money. Even if they want, it enables the beneficiaries in the rural areas to make deposits and withdrawals. So this can also be done. So these are the benefits of bank sakhi or bank sathi also. Right. Correct option is option C. Both the statements are correct. Next question. Question number 8. In the context of Indian economy, which of the following is or are the purpose or purposes of statutory reserve requirements? So it is statement only one is correct. The central bank enable the central bank to control the amount of advances the banks can create. So this is the correct statement. Rest of the statements are incorrect. Right. So rest of the statements are given incorrect. You can go through the statements and consider. Next question number 9. The sales tax you pay while purchasing a toothpaste. So it is a tax imposed and collected by the state government. So you know very well, before the GST, the customs taxes or excise taxes that were there with the central government, whatever happens, production happens, there the center has the authority to impose and collect the taxes. With respect to sales, the state governments, they had the power to impose and collect the taxes. However, with the introduction of GST, we can say all these have been nullified right now. Right. Next, question number 10. With reference to balance of payments, BOP, which of the following constitute the current account? So, right, if you see the balance of trade, yes, it is part and parcel of balance of payments. Foreign assets, it is not part of the balance of payments. Balance of individuals, balance of invisibles, I am sorry. So this is part and parcel of balance of payments. Special drawing rights, this is not part. So correct option is option C. 1 and 3 are correct. Right. Last question. Question is, with reference to union budget, which of the following is or are covered under non-plan expenditure? However, this becomes irrelevant now, because I think around 2015, somewhere around 2015, the division of plan and non-plan has been done away with. Right now there is no division of planned expenditure and non-plan expenditure. So at that time, all the things, defense expenditure, interest payments, all these are short-term kind of short-term expenditures. So that's why they are not included in the planned expenditure. They are part of the non-planned expenditure only. So salaries and pensions, subsidies, all these are temporary expenditure to meet the needs of day-to-day needs. So they are included in the non-plan expenditure. So the defense expenditure that is made during the war time, that is considered as the planned expenditure. But the defense expenditure that is made during the peacetime, it is considered as a non-plan expenditure only. So correct option is option C. 1, 2, 3, 4 all are included in the non-plan expenditure. So this is about the economics. So successfully we have completed the economics because the number of questions were more. So we have took a little bit more time to complete this one. So right. So thank you for joining the session. And from Monday, we will try to see the history questions, right? So in 2 to 3 sessions, we will also try to complete the history previous 10 years questions, right? So thank you for joining the sessions. See you on Monday. Until then, have a good day.